everyone, this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make a necklace with the Shiny New Year treasure bag. Now this is the necklace I made, and I did it in two colors. I did it with just the beads that were in the treasure bag, and then I did it with a pop of color with a little bit of red from my own stash. So let's get a little bit closer so you can see what they look like. I'm using the twisted beads, and I'm going to show you how to wire wrap a little bit around the components that's in the box. And this you can do with any splash of color you would like. I chose red for this one, and it really pops. And this one I just left it elegant and neutral with all the grays that match that are in the bag. So it's up to you how you want to do that, but let's go ahead and look and see what it takes to make this necklace. Okay, for this design from the treasure box, I'm going to use some of the 4mm round gray beads like this, the little gray crystals, and I'm going to use, you have a package of 5 for the necklace. I'll use 3, and then I have 2 left over for earrings. So you have a package of these twisted beads. We're going to use them, and you can get all 5 out because I will make some earrings. And then in my original design, I went ahead and just used the gray beads here, and they turned out really pretty. I think it's a really elegant look. You can see them up on the side here. But I'm going to add some color to this one just for those who would like to add a little pop. So from my box, or from my stash, not my box, I have grabbed some true red 4mm rounds to mix with my gray rounds. Because this is such a neutral palette, you can add any color you want. You could use a purple, a pink, a green, it does not matter. Every single color you add to this, blue, will go perfectly because it's a total neutral. So I'm going to use some red just to give it a kind of a wow, and I'm going to use the chain that came in the box. And I'm going to use a lobster claw clasp. I'm going to add that with one of the jump rings that came in the bag. So I'm also going to use this component. We're going to use one of these. I have several ideas for these, and I'm going to show you several of them. And I have some of these online if you want to play with them. I got an excess amount when I ordered these, so I've made packages of 6, so if you want some, I'll put a link. It's up to you, but these are really fun components to play with. So I'm going to use one of those, and I'm going to add into the mix some head pins, and I'm going to turn the head pins into eye pins, or you can head pins and eye pins is what I'll use these for, or you can get some eye pins out. These are very long ones, and you can make several eye pins out of it. So if we just use a short section, we can make a loop and use this long one several times, or you can just use short ones. I just thought I would show you how to make some eye pins out of head pins if you don't know. It's not hard. And then I have added some 24 gauge wire. 26 will probably work too. This is just a 26 gauge Argenti. It's a very soft, nice, pliable wire, and it is silver tone. So I'm going to use it, and you're going to need some tools, of course. I like to have my flat nose, my round nose, even my chain nose. I have these small chain nose to tuck wires in with, and a pair of wire cutters. And let's go ahead and get started on this project. Okay, we're going to start this project by making loops, wrapped loops for these components. So I've already done 2, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So I'm going to take one of my head pins, and I'm just going to insert it into the bead. And then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and I'm going to work towards the front of my pliers because it's smaller, and I want these to be fairly small loops. So I'm just going a little ways down the plier, and I'm going to bend the wire over the back portion of the plier. Then I'm just going to turn my wrist and position the lower part of the plier into the bend that I just created. And then I'm going to bring the excess wire over the top, and as I get it all the way over, I'm going to just twist my wrist a little bit that's holding the plier, and then I'm going to bring the wire with my other hand underneath that plier. Just like that. So you have a loop. Then I'm going to grab a hold of that loop with my flat nose pliers, and I'm just going to hold on to it, and I'm going to wrap this with my fingers. You can do it with a plier, of course, and I'm just going to wrap this. About 3 times. Now you don't want to wrap it extremely tight on these beads because they're glass and they will chip. So you just want it to be nice and snug so that you don't have a lot of excess down here every time you lay it down or something, the head pin sticks out. You just want it to be nice and secure like this. And then we're going to cut this, and that's always a trick. Let me see if I can position this so I can cut it as close as I possibly can with my dull cutters here. I'm going to cut that off. And then I'm going to grab these little chain nose pliers. I'm going to hold on to my loop so that it doesn't twist around, and I'm just going to tuck that in the best I possibly can. And then I'm going to straighten out my loop. And that's how you do that. Just like that. And let me show you closer what it looks like. Just a nice little wrap. You're going to do that with all 3 of your big beads, and then we're going to set them aside. Then we're going to make 6 components with 3 beads in them. On my original, I did these components. This is the chain components we're going to make. We're just going to make all the components so they're ready. And on my original, I did 3 of the little gray 4mm rounds. On this one, I'm going to use 2 gray and 1 red. I am going to make a little head pin or eye pin out of my head pin. So I'm going to cut the end of this off, just like that. And then I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to position it on the head pin to where there's just a couple millimeters hanging out of the end here. And I'm going to roll this over. And that still might be a little long because I don't want my loops to be really big, so I can trim it just a little bit, because I want my loops on the eye of my eye pin to be pretty small. So now that I have this little L shape, I'm going to place it over my finger, and I'm going to work towards the front of my plier. Try to grab the very end and work towards the front and just start to turn. Once I have turned it as far as I can, I'm going to reposition my wrist and continue to turn. Then I'm going to take it out when I'm like 3/4 of the way around here. Let's get you even closer. And I'm going to grab from the front here and just bring this in. And then you can always close these better by grabbing your flat nose or your chain nose and lift it open like you are opening a jump ring. Kind of push it forward and then bring it back down. And close it, just like that. And that is my first loop. And then I'm going to thread some beads on here. So I'm just going to use 3 beads. And I'm going to put them alternating my color like this. And then grab my flat nose again. I want my loops to be the same. Of course, you can turn them, but I want them to be the same, so I'm positioning it so that it's vertical like this, the loop that I've already made. And then I'm just going to bend this over that top bead, just like that. And then I'm going to place it over my finger again, and I'm going to cut. You can leave your straight or your flat nose pliers if you're using that to judge on there and then cut it, but I'm just going to guess here, about here, and I'm going to cut that. So I've got this. And then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers at the very edge towards the front of my pliers so I get a small loop, and I'm going to turn as far as I can turn, and then I'm going to reposition my hand and continue to turn, and then just bring this in. Until I have a nice little loop, and then I'll close it with my flat nose by opening it straight up, twist it open, and then bring it in as you close it. Bring it towards the straight part of the wire, just like this. And you're going to make 6 of these, I believe. Let me see. What did I do in my original? Yes, make 6 of those components, and we'll be back. So I've created my 6 components, and I'm just going to set them aside with my other components that I created. And I'm going to make one more little red component. Now, in my original, I did not do this, but because I'm going to add red, I think I want a component right here in red on the longer one to attach so that I have a pop of red in the middle too. So what I'm going to do is I've already made one loop. I cut my head pin down, and you can just use an eye pin too. You don't have to make your own eye pin, but I'm just doing that so everything matches. My head pins and my eye pins are the same. Everything, color, consistency, the whole 9 yards. So I've made my eye pin, and if I can find the hole, I'm going to put just one little red bead on here. And I'm going to line this up so that my hole or my loop is vertical to my bead mat, like this, up and down. And then I'm going to just bend this over the top of my bead, just like this. And do the same thing, cut it down. You want these ones to be pretty small, so you really want to work towards the front of your pliers and have a small amount of wire here. I'm going to leave it over my finger. I'm going to grab my round nose, grab onto it, and start to turn. And then I'll reposition my wrist and continue to turn. Now you can see it's a little bent and weird. Let's get you in close. So I'll just grab my flat nose or my chain nose, and I will also close this well. That's actually closed pretty good, but I want them to be pretty much the same. And this one's smaller than this one, which I would prefer the small. So what I'm going to do, I do this every now and then, I doctor up my loops. So if it's a little bit too big on one side, I didn't get them exactly the same, because you won't always. Sometimes you get lucky. I'm just going to cut a little bit of the end of this off on the inside of the loop. Then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, put the end of it in, and just close it again, bring it all the way around. Now I have a small loop, but they're kind of weird. So I'm going to take this plier and this plier, and I'm just going to straighten them out. Just like that. Now I have one little tiny component, and I'm going to put that aside. Now we are going to grab our component like this and our wire. Now I've cut about 23 inches, which might be a little excessive. You might not need quite this much, but I've cut about 23 inches of wire, and I am going to start by just wrapping the end of my component. So I'm just going to bring this wire just around like this and just get it around my component the best I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it around there like that. And then hold on to that end piece you left, the excess, and then just wrap around the component with your wire about 3 times. And I'm not even being perfect, because I can scoot it together. Let me let you see what I'm doing. I'm just going to scoot these together, and I'm going to push it down to this first little ring. And I'm coming up towards the top here. So You can see the loop is down here, my wire is coming this way. I've pushed my wire together. I'm going to grab my little chain nose. I'm going to kind of pull on it, make sure it's nice and tight, and then I'm going to cut this down right here towards the top so that it's not on the inside where it can snag clothing or anything. On the top here, I'm going to tuck this down really nicely. And that's really good. I can't even feel it. So just like that. And coming out towards the top of my bead here, or towards the top of my unit, and I'm going to turn this over. Just like that. Now, the wire is coming from behind and to the top of my component. I'm going to pick up, I'm going to first lay out how I want these to look since I'm using two colors. On my first one, I just used all the same color of the gray. So I'm going to see how I want to do this, because you want to leave 3 loops in the middle for your components. So we're going to wrap 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 5 of the loops. So we're going to lay this out. I think I want to go gray, red, gray, red, and then gray. Yeah, that's going to work out fine. Let me actually get in camera so you can see what I just did and get you closer. I just laid it on here because I know I'm going to wrap 5 of these units. So that's how I'm going to wrap it. If you're doing one color, you don't have to worry about it. But I just wanted to look and see how I wanted to do it. You can arrange them however you want. You could do these in all different colors if you'd like, or all the same one. Now again, my wires come up towards the top. I'm coming from behind. I'm going to pick up one of my beads onto the wire. And I'm going to drop it down. And this is a little bit long wire, but I'm going to bring my bead right on top of that little circle. And then I'm going to wrap right in between the 2 loops. Let me push that there, bring my wire, and I'm going to wrap twice. Now, my wire is arguing a little, so let me get this a little tighter. You want it to be nice and tight so you don't have a lot of excess wire. Now that's what you should have. Just like that. I held it on, and then I moved my wire until I got it pretty tight, and then I'm just going to wrap twice. So I'm going to go 1. So once around there already, and then 1 more time, and then over the top again like this. I'm positioned right over that next loop. Now, if you're really picky about the way your wraps look, just squeeze them together so that they're nice and neat, just like that. And then pick up another wire. Drop down your next bead, place it on top, just like this. I'm going to hold it with my thumb, pull my wire as tight as I can, and make my first loop. Position everything so it looks really good. Get my wire tight, push it over, and then wrap again. And then end over the top of the next loop towards the top of your component, just like that. You want lots of tension, you want it to be nice and tight, just like that. And it'll lay perfectly on top of those little loops. And then we're going to, well, I messed up because I was going to do red next, and I did my silver. So I'm going to change my color scheme here. So I'm just going to put 1 red here. So I'm going to pick up my red. I wanted it to be every other one, but that's okay. I'm just going to put a pop of red in here then. I have a red right here. Hold on to it. Position it nicely onto that little loop, and then wrap once, wrap again, make sure it looks good, and end towards the top of your component, just like that. And then I'll just go ahead and do 2 more gray since I messed up my color scheming, because, you know, sometimes I do things like that. I just do. Not in denial. Now I'm going to bring this over the top. I'm going to hold on to that bead the best I can. Position it. Get one nice tight wrap and then another nice tight wrap. And you can kind of move it around a little if you need to, just like that. And we're going to do one more. But this time we're going to do another gray because I messed up. And push that over the top. So I just drop it down till it hits the component, push it over the top, hold on to it with my other hand. And see, it'll be easier for you. This finger of mine doesn't work well, so I'm going to look clumsy trying to hold it, but it'll be easier for you because you can bend your finger, I can't. So 2, and then over the top here. Now I'm going to cut this wire off. Right here, right at the top. And I am going to tuck it down. Really nice and tight. Like that. That feels good. Alright, so that's what I have. Now we're going to do the other side the same way. So all you have to do is go ahead and grab your wire, wrap it around, and wrap this side exactly the same way you did this side, leaving the 3 loops in the middle open. So just wrap 5 more on this side and we'll be back. Remember to start by turning your component over so that when you end, just like you did on this side, you can turn it over and your wire will be in the proper position. Watch the video again if you need to and just go ahead and do this side. Okay, so you can see I have made all of my wraps. You can see the back looks nice and neat. It's pretty. And if you need to, you can arrange them a little bit. There's a little tiny bit of give to the wire, not a lot, but you can arrange them a little. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our chain. Now I've already removed a couple of the links we're going to need. We're going to close this one just because. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut, or we're going to open and remove 2 links and then 3 links and then another one with 2 links. Now this is open chain, so you just find where it's open, which end it's open on. Get you close. And let me see, where is it open? Right there. I'm going to grab on either side. I only want 2 links, so on the second link I'm going to grab my straight nose and I'm just going to open that with 2 pairs of pliers and I'm going to pull it off. Now I am going to grab one of my components and I'm going to put it on this open link. So my big component like this, let me back off just a little bit. I'm going to drop it on this open link here. Get close again. And then I'm just going to close that link. And that can be a real, it can get you. So let me pick it up again. And drop it back on there. And then close it. Now you can use jump rings to do this, but I kind of like the look of the chain better. So I'm using them as my jump rings. So now I have 2 links on this component, just like that. I'm going to do that with the other component also. And I'm going to put the middle component, I have 3 links cut here. The first thing I'm going to do, if I can lay them out, is I'm going to grab my one little red unit and I'm going to open it up on one end, just twist it up, And then I'm going to put my chain on there, one link, one of the end links, just like that. And then I'm going to close that little loop on my component. Might have been easier to open the chain. These head pins are pretty strong, but I'm just going to keep messing with it until I can get it to close nicely. Okay, so now I have that little tiny link on the 3 links, and then I'm just going to connect. Let me put my other one on. My lotion's all over my crystals, making them all ugly. I'm going to have to wipe them off. Oh, you know, either that or I just have slimy hands. I don't know. I'm going to open this link. I'm going to drop it on this component. And close it. And then I'm going to open this link on the top, and I'm going to slide it onto my chandelier component here. So the 2 link ones will be on either side, and of course the one with the little red link will be in the middle. Whoops. I'm going to close that little link. And that's what that looks like. Let me back up just a little more. And then I'm going to connect the red link directly to the component here. So I'm going to make sure, because I didn't do this last time, so my measurement could possibly be off. Let's see. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 chain link above this link. So I'm going to open 1 more chain link. And of course, you don't have to have this link on here. On my original, I just used, I think I used 6 links. Let me see how many I used. So if you don't want to do this and you want to just connect it directly like I did with this one, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 links actually. So let's see. Open this up. And I'm going to put it on here. Close it. Like that. And then I will grab this component. I'm going to open this link. Not that one. This one. And close it. You want your middle one to be long enough to where the side ones lay right on top of it, just like this, so that the shape is perfect like this. So no matter how big you make your loops or whatever, adjust your links of your chain so that it will hang perfectly like this. Now I'm going to open this one, and I'm going to put it on the component. Close it. And this is what I have. See, it would have been prettier if I had actually done my red the right way, but it's still pretty because I have the red in my little links here too. So what we're going to do is we are going to make side components like this. So what I have done is I have cut 4 links 2 times. So cut 4 sections of 4 links so that you have it for both sides, and then your back section you can cut for whatever length you want your necklace. Now I have cut mine, let me get a ruler, and I can count the links off camera too and tell you, but I have made mine about 3.5 inches from here to here. Let me back off a little bit so you can see. And then I attached my lobster claw directly to the chain. So let's do this. Let's go off camera. Let's cut 4 sections of 4 links, and then we will discuss the back length. I will tell you exactly how many links I cut. This is about not quite an 18-inch necklace. It's about 17.5 because you want it to lay at the base of your throat. So it depends on the size of the person. Now, 16 inches is for a small person, but you can make the 16 inches and then put a couple inch extender so it will fit any size person. You can do that. And I will tell you exactly how many links I have when I come back. Cut 4 sections of 4 links so that we can make the beginning part of our chain. Okay, so I have cut 4 segments of 5 links. I lied. It's not 4 links, it's 5 links. And you want 4 segments of them, and then 2 segments of 25. And I will show you exactly what this measures out at the end so that you can adjust this length the way you want to. And then I have gotten out 2 4mm jump rings. Now, originally I used just 1 link of chain to attach to my component, and it seems to work fine, but every now and then these links are just a little bit small and it'll kink a little bit. So you can use 1 link to attach your components if you would like to, just like a jump ring, or you can just use a jump ring to make sure you're always going to get good movement. So on this one I went ahead and got out of my stash a couple little 4mm round jump rings, and I'm just going to, and you could, yeah, 4mm is probably about right. You might be able to go a millimeter smaller, but I'm just going to open this and I'm going to pop it on here, and then I'm going to grab my link and put it on that jump ring and close the jump ring. Actually, put your link on your jump ring first. Don't ask me why I did that. I don't know why I did that. Just put it on there like that, and then close that jump ring and make sure you get it closed nice and secure like this. Let me get you a little closer. You're awfully far away. So I just put a jump ring on by twisting it open. I'll show you on the other side a little closer here so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to grab this jump ring, I'm going to find the opening, I'm going to hold on to half of this jump ring. Oh, come here. And then I'm going to grab my other pair of pliers and I'm just going to open it like this just by twisting it. If you position it to where your pliers are holding on to most of the side, then you won't distort it too much. Never pull them open, always twist them open. And then I'm going to drop one of these components on, and I'm going to put it on this side, just like this. Once I get it on here, I can balance my component on my bead mat and close my jump ring. Make sure they're closed nice and tight. You may have to shimmy them a little. That jump ring's kind of weird anyway. And now it's closed. And now I can start connecting my links. So I have 5 links here. I'm going to open one end. I'm going to find the opening on the chain. And again, let me get you a little closer. I'm just going to open this link. I'm going to put it on the end of this component. And then I'm going to close that link. See if I can hold that a little better. Just like that. And that is what I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one here, and then another 4 here, and this one here, and then another, or these are 5 actually, another 5 links, another 5 links, just like that. So you're going to have a component, 5 links, a component, 5 links, and a component. And then we will attach one of our long pieces to that last component. Go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I have finished one side. For the very beginners, I'm going to do a couple links on this side just to make sure that everybody is okay. So I have already put on this one link here, and I'm just going to open this chain. So all you have to do is just spin the link around. If the connection, the opening of it is on the inside of the next link, just spin the link around, hold on one side of the chain, and then grab the other side. Cover as much of the link as you can with your pliers. It opens nicer that way. Drop it on. Close it by twisting it back just like this, and then grab the next link at the very top, turn it until you can find the opening, open it, grab your next link. Close it. And let's continue. I'll find my link. I turned it and I didn't need to. There we go. This last link. And then I'm going to grab my nice long one and open it. Drop it on. And then I'm going to come to the end of my chain, and I'm going to use one of the big, nice, heavy jump rings that's in the treasure bag. These are really nice, heavy stainless steel, and they're stainless steel color. I wish I could get these in a prettier color. Maybe I can, but it goes okay with the color scheming in this box. But these are really nice, heavy ones, so this will work great. You can also put 2 or 3 or 4 of them on there as a extension. You can put as many as you want on here, and connecting the jump rings together and making your necklace long. So let's just say you cut for a 16-inch necklace, then you could put a bunch of jump rings on the end for an extender. So I opened my big jump ring just like I opened the chain, slid it on there, closed it just like I've been opening and closing the chain, and now I have one end of my clasping. Now I'm going to grab my lobster claw, and I'm going to see the end is kind of big, but I'm going to see if I can just drop it right on. If not, I'll use a jump ring, but the chain is pretty strong, so I would rather just have it directly on the chain. And so I'm going to open this, drop this on, see if I can position my hands correctly here, and get you a little closer, and close this the best I can. See if it works. Yeah, it's all an experiment. Yeah, that's fine. Well, see, these chains, they're so oval and that's so thick that would probably be better off with a jump ring. So I'll go ahead and put a jump ring on there. I did it on this one, and this one isn't too bad, but I'm going to go ahead and just open this and put a jump ring on. So I'll take this off. Close this link. I can actually even take this link off since I'm going to use a jump ring. It'll be the same length. And I'll grab a jump ring. Now these jump rings aren't very heavy. Let me see if I can get a heavier one. And see what I've got in here. Oh, come here. Pliers are getting magnetized. So, you just see me struggle here. All right, so I'm just going to open a jump ring, put it on my clasp, and then put my clasp onto my necklace. And I think that's going to move freer. I had used just the chain on the other design, but let me get this all cleared up. And show you what we've made. It turns out really, really pretty. Really pretty. And then here's the one I made without putting any color in it. Like I said, you could use any color you wanted. You could even have, you could even use black if you wanted to stay with the theme of the box, though, that's up to you. Black, purple, blue, green, any color would go with these because they're completely neutral. Let me show you. And I like the elegance of neutrality. Some people got downright offensive about it, but I really like the elegance of neutrality. I just do. And so that happens to be my taste. But you can customize anything to your taste any way you want to. You can add any colors you want. You can modify the designs any way you want, and you don't have to be stuck with what I'm doing, just like that. And those turned out really, really pretty. And I put this one on, and it was gorgeous. I'm going to get my beadboard, and we're going to measure one of these and see exactly what the length ended up to be, so you know if you want to adjust your 25 links on the end. Let me show you the entire thing here. And then let's measure what I have here. Back off a little bit more. Put your chain on the outside rim of a beadboard, and it's just, so if you go from dead zero here in the middle to 8 inches, that would be 16 with 8 inches on either side. This is about 8.5 inches. So it's going to be just right under an 18-inch necklace. So right around, because your lobster claw is going to take up a little bit of room on the other side. So it's going to be right around a 17-inch necklace. And that is perfect for me because I don't like it really tight. I could probably take a little bit off, but I don't like my necklaces really up close, but I do want this particular style to be right at the base of the throat because right, like, right underneath your collarbones, very close to your collarbones, because this is going to lay properly that way. So you can adjust the length accordingly. You can always lay it on your beadboard and measure it out and see exactly what you've got, or you can hold it up to your throat and see if you need a little bit more, a little bit less chain. You know, you can adjust it any way you want. So let me kind of wipe these up a little bit and I'll show you the finished. And I'm going to make a pair of earrings too, I think. Okay, so I'm going to make a pair of earrings. Now these ear wires that came in the bag are huge. When I ordered them, I thought I was doing a good thing getting stainless steel ear wires. And you know, when you're ordering something online, you can't really see exactly what it looks like. These are a little big and I'm not completely happy with them. I like that they're stainless steel, but they're big. So I am modifying mine. So I have decided to cut it down some. So this is what I did, was I cut it down and then I squeezed it together a little so it's not so huge. So I'm going to lay this one on top of this one so I can see, and I'm going to use my memory wire cutters just because it's stainless steel. You can use anything that's a little bit heavier so that you don't have to ruin your nice ones. And I'm just going to cut that down. And then I'm going to squeeze it in. You can take your flat nose and just kind of aim it out. Squeeze this part in. And I've got that. And let's see. And I'm going to bend this one out a little bit. You can put them together and do it too if you'd like. That's better. I like that better. And then what's nice about this shape, I like this shape, is because this will hang right at the end of your earlobe and your dangle will hang straight down. So it's a little bit different hang than some of the other earways, and I like that. I like the way it looks, but I just did not like how big they are. They're just too big. They're just gigantic. So I'm just modifying them so that I can still use them. They're nice wire. They're just huge. Okay, so I've got my modified ear wires. I'm going to set them aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a really simple dangle. I'm going to take a head pin and slide it onto this guy right here. And I'm going to just bend this over at the top of the bead gently. Just like that. Then I'm going to cut this down. About 1/4 of an inch, maybe not quite. Right there. Just want a small loop. And then I'm just going to loop this over, placing my pliers and just making a loop. Let's see what I've got. Yeah, that's good. So just a little loop, and then I'm going to close this loop a little bit better. My pliers. Just like that. So now I just kind of opened it and wiggled it. And so now I've got just a little tiny loop here. Then I'm going to make another eye pin loop on this one. So I've got a head pin I cut the end off of, and I'm going to grab the end, just leave a little bit hanging out. I have the length of my plier there, and I'm just going to bend that. Grab my round nose pliers and begin to bend. It's just exactly like I showed you before. make a loop, close that loop. I just have better luck if I use my pliers to close it. I just open it and then move it forward and bring it back, just like that. Drop this on here. And then make another loop. So I'm going to take this end right on top of that bead, just a little bit above it, and bend as far of a right angle as I can. And then I am going to cut this down. Just place it over your finger, cut it down about 1/4 of an inch. And again, begin to turn a loop. And turn it until it's closed. And actually, we don't really have to close it all the way because we're going to open it again, but I'm going to just turn these both the same way, and then I'm going to open this one just by placing my plier on it and just twisting it open. I'm going to put it on this guy right here and close it. And then I'm going to grab my modified ear wire here, open the loop on the ear wire, drop this down, and close the loop on the ear wire. I have a really simple, cute dangle, just like that. Make the other one, and we'll come back and look at the set. Okay, so I forgot to mention too, after you cut your ear wire, you're going to want to get like a little metal file or a little emery board, something. I have both. I have a little metal file and I have a memory board. And memory board, yes, emery board. And you just want to file the ends of your wire and round them a little bit. They also have little automatic rounders for wires like this too, but I don't have one, so I always just use a little file and just round it and soften it, because after you cut it, it becomes quite sharp. So if you modify your wires, always make sure that you make the ends nice and smooth. And I'll work on mine a little bit more, making sure that they're nice and smooth, because I do not want that to be sharp. And they're almost there. So I'll just work on that a little bit. But that's what the set looks like. Let me get the necklace ready. And here they are. I think they turned out really pretty. Let me zoom out a little so you can see the whole design. And then let's zoom back in so you can see the front. I polished them up a little bit. I washed the beads and got all my lotion and my fingerprints off, and they're just really, really pretty. They look pretty on the neck, and of course you can make this hang however you want as far as how it hangs on your throat by just adjusting your length. If you make this incredibly long, this may hang more like that in the front. If you want it more round, then you make it a little bit shorter. And of course, you can pop any color you want in there with it. And I actually was thinking this would be pretty with pink or purple or anything. I mean, there's anything you can do. And this one with just the gray, I think it's elegant. So I think they turned out really pretty, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Hang in there. There's lots more to come.